Hi, I'm Joshua Popenoe. Welcome to my 4 Elements pronunciation practice. This is the first part of a live weekly Zoom class I give for my online members. I present an interesting sentence or quote and then use the 4 elements as a framework to illustrate every aspect of pronunciation, making it easy to identify and focus on what needs to improve. The 4 elements are vowels, consonants, rhythm, and connection. Vowels are open sounds. The mouth is always open, never blocked, so nothing is touching inside the mouth. Consonants are closed sounds. There's some kind of contact using the tongue, lips, or teeth. Rhythm is made from syllables. Every vowel and the consonants surrounding it make a syllable. It's the smallest unit of speech that makes a word or joins together with other syllables to make longer words. Syllables are large and stressed or smaller and unstressed. Rhythm happens when you connect stressed and unstressed syllables together. Connection is about how to connect words smoothly in a natural flow, and phrasing is the timing and intonation that joins them together, giving them specific meaning. IPA stands for International Phonetic Alphabet, which has a unique symbol for every sound in English. Remember these words: vowel, consonant, rhythm, syllable, connection, phrasing, and IPA. This introduction was pre-recorded for perfection. The rest of the video will be live and spontaneous, so please enjoy the imperfection of a 100% non-AI human being, me. Hello, everybody. Welcome to pronunciation class for this week, where we work on a single sentence, a useful sentence, so you could practice your pronunciation technique as well as learn something brilliant to say. Today's sentence was written by a very brilliant gentleman, Albert Einstein. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. Genius. The sentence is, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. That's a good sentiment. We're all trying to be successful, which is nice, but being of value is even nicer. So strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Let's move on to the sentence marked up. Okay, you can see from the lines over the sentence, there are 2 phrases. Each phrase is made of words that go together. The first one, strive not to be a success. That could stand alone as a sentence. But as a phrase, it has a different melody at the end than if it was a sentence. If it was a sentence, it would be strive not to be a success. That's the end. But here, strive not to be a success. You hear the difference in pitch? But rather to be of value. Second phrase, but rather to be of value. So it's easier for the listener if you put it all together, strive not to be a success, but rather be of value. It would be much harder for the listener to really take it in. Phrasing is such an important part of understanding each other, understanding long, complicated sentences. Doesn't even have to be complicated. Let's go to the store today and buy 2 oranges, 1 carrot, and a big chocolate cake. Those are phrases, but because of the flowing and the melody, it separates them so the mind, a listener, can take it in one by one and then put it all together. So today's sentence, 2 phrases: strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Okay, let's look at the rhythm now. The lavender marks are the stressed syllables. The black marks are the unstressed syllables. The stressed syllables keep a steady rhythm frame. And so the smaller black syllables, unstressed syllables, they fit in between, but they don't make the space between the stressed syllables longer. They have to be faster. So this is an important part of rhythm in English, and then being able to flow is keeping the steady rhythm frame. Now, it helps to tap with your finger because you really want to get this deeply in your body. And just speaking, your brain is working, But speech is really a physical skill, right? Your whole body is making speech, your lungs, your vocal cords, you're speaking. So it helps to tap like this. Strive not to be a success. That's the first phrase. Strive not to be a success. You can see that my stressed rhythm frame was even. Strive not be cess. Strive not to be a success. Second phrase starts on a little one, so we're up. We only tap the stressed ones, but rather to be of value. But rather to be of value. So again, rath be vowel. Rath be vowel. But rather to be of value. So putting the whole thing together, each phrase makes a new rhythm frame. So of course we're pausing a little, or there's a slight bit of a wait or a drift as we move into the next melody of the next phrase. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. I'll do it one more time. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Okay? At the end, we will practice this together. And of course, you're muted, so you can practice anything you want while we're working. Okay, next we're going to work on the stressed vowels, which are in red underneath the sentence. They're written in the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, because you cannot tell the pronunciation from the regular English alphabet alone. The same vowel can have different pronunciations, so we use IPA. Here they're written in red. These, of course, are the stressed syllables, stressed vowels, so they need to be pronounced carefully and fully. So we'll go over them. The first one is I, which is an open central vowel, starting with ah, closing the mouth to I. It's a diphthong, which means the sound changes while we pronounce it. I, strive. Then we have not. This is the central open vowel, ah, a pure vowel. It doesn't change. Mouth is open, relaxed. Ah, not. Then we have E, to be. That is a closed front vowel. Vowels are never closed. They're still open, but it's very narrow. The tongue is pushed up high. E. Then the end of the first line, we have success. Eh. That is a middle front vowel. Eh. Eh. Stay relaxed, open. Eh. Success. Second line, the first red one, the first stressed vowel is ah, front open vowel. Yeah. The way I teach it in my course is starting with the closed front vowel E. Your tongue is touching the bottom teeth, lips are spread, top lip is straight, and you open. Yeah. Yeah. Keep this straight. It's almost like a little square. Rather. Ah, rather. Then we have B again. E, tongue is pressed up high. You learn in school, spread your lips, E, but it's not made by the lips. It's the tongue position. E, tongue pushes up. And then the last one is at again, value. Next, let's look at the consonants. ST together. Tip of the tongue is down on the bottom front teeth. Teeth are lined up together, and you're pushing the breath through to make the fricative, unvoiced S. Strive. T is connected here. R is connected here. Strive. So you have STR. Strive. T is a T stop. Strive. Then V. V is top teeth on the bottom lip. This is a vibration. So if you bite too hard, you can't do it. If it's too loose, you don't get the vibration. If you do it right, it kind of tickles. Strive. And we have N, which is a nasal consonant. The nose is open. Na na na. Tongue is touching here on the roof of the mouth, the tooth ridge, it's called. Na na na. Not. Not to be. Not to. Then we have another T. We have two T's actually. T stop. And then we release the T. T, t. Not to. Not to. Not to. Then we have B, that's the lips again. Ba, 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 ba. It's voiced. Make a nice rich sound. B, b, b. Then S again. This is why we use IPA. Look at that word, success, 2 C's, but each one has a different pronunciation. If you look below at the IPA, the first one is K. Suck. That's the back of the tongue coming up to the roof of the mouth and releasing. Then it's followed by S. So those 2 letters, CC, are pronounced as K and then S. Success. And S again. Success. Then we have, but rather. B with a T. That's a T stop, which I didn't put in there. We'll talk about it in a moment. But rather, TH, the. TH can be voiced or unvoiced. In this word, rather, the. TH is also a vibration, but this time it's the top front of the tongue vibrating, again, somewhere here. Could be the back of the teeth. It can even be higher up, depending on what it is. The important part is not to press too hard. Then you get the, like a D, and not to be too loose. The, rather. Then we have R again, T again, t. Quick release, unvoiced, stop plosive consonant. T. Then B again, b. B of, letter is F, but the pronunciation is V, right? Voiced. Again, that's why we need IPA. And then value. Oh, so this is interesting. Just like the 2 CCs above, you have F and then V. In this case, they're both V, of value. L, la. Tongue is touching here. Again, similar to the place you touch for T, but it's a different feeling of touching. La. T is t. This is la. You spend a little more time touching and releasing with a snap. And there's a Y after it. Value. Okay? Let's talk about connection now. And as I always say, connection is about connecting. Keep your voice flowing. Now, it flows through the phrase. You can have a little break at the end of the phrase, but see if you can keep your voice flowing. Strive not to be a success. So even though I'm going through voiced and unvoiced consonants, the flow of energy, the flow of breath continues through the phrase. So strive not. Point is, you've got the V to the end. You have to take the time, as you know each of these techniques, to feel yourself connecting. Strive not. The red line is a T stop. T stop, as I've said before, is when you have T at the end of a syllable. Not is one syllable, followed by a consonant. In this case, it's T, but it could be any other consonant. It stops and then releases. It does not release not. There's no release. I'm not tired. This is not good. This is not what I wanted. Not to be a. Then we're connecting here. We want to connect be a. We don't want to break, not to be a success. So we use what I call the Y technique. Y, as I explained earlier, your tongue is pushed up. E. That is the same tongue position as Y. Yeah. Can you hear the Y coming after the E? Yeah. So the tongue is gliding and releasing. It's called a glide consonant. Yeah, it glides and releases. So instead of breaking, we can glide from the B, and then we open a little bit to make the without breaking. Be a success. Be a success. Okay, then we have K. I didn't put a line through, but we have a K stop. Success. So it's the same thing. There are 3 stop plosive consonants unvoiced where we make a stop. T, K, and P. So success, not success, success. That's a K stop. Then we have on the next line, but rather. I should have put the red line as I did with not to, because that is a T stop again. But followed by R, but rather. Then we go through, but rather to be, and we have another Y glide consonant because we have be of, followed by a vowel again. The Y technique is when you have a word that ends with a vowel connecting with a word that begins with a vowel, usually unstressed. Be of. So B is E. I'm pushing up a little more, and then I'm dropping it without breaking it. Be of. Be of value. Be of value. Okay? Watch the video again. I'm moving quite quickly, but you can watch the video as many times as you want to practice these things. And of course, if you really want to learn in detail, come join the membership. 100 videos with all of the technique for everything. Let's do it together now. We'll do it 2 times. I'll say the sentence, then repeat after me, and we'll do it again. Let's tap. Use your finger. Repeat after me. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Again, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. I hope that was helpful. Thank you very much. I'll be back next week with another sentence. So take care, everybody, and have a good week. I hope that was helpful. Now I'll be working with my members for the rest of the live session. If you'd like to join us, work with me, and continue learning the 4 elements in detail, along with every technique you need to improve your English pronunciation, come join my online pronunciation membership, which includes over 100 videos teaching every technique you need for good English pronunciation. For more information, go to popenoemethod.com. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time.